next year. To decide that if we we're doing this. We're gonna do this.
Yeah.
You ready?
Ready than ever be.
Okay. How do you want to start it? You want to start?
We start with that.
What up, SK family?
What's up, basket family?
What up, SK family? August 25th, 2016. These beautiful humans got married. Are they cute?
Yeah.
They're cute. This is hard. It's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, honestly. We've noticed over the last few months, we've kind of drifted. I guess that's the best way to put it. We feel, I guess, got caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, and kind of looked up and realized that we've kind of put ourselves, like as a unit, on the back burner. Would you agree?
Yeah.
We make great friends. We make great business partners. But romantically, we wonder that if maybe we might not be the best fit anymore. Over the last 7 and some change years, we've grown individually as people. These people that are in this photo here, this was taken less than 6 months after we actually got married. They don't exist anymore, honestly. Like, we don't even look the same. Like, if we were like switch places, like, we don't even look the same anymore, honestly. Like, what are, like, see?
My locks are down here.
She didn't even have locks. I didn't even have locks in this photo. Like, these people, we don't even look the same anymore. That's how much we've changed both physically, but like just as much as we've changed physically, we've changed as much on the inside. I mean, I would say for the better. Like, we've grown as people for the better. We are much stronger people. We have much better boundaries. We've gotten to know ourselves more, and have really learned to love ourselves differently. Even just what I've known for myself, but even how I've observed Katia, we've just grown. And we may have grown apart. And so, our challenge for the next year, because of how our next year is set up, we've locked in some trips sprinkled out throughout the next year that is just best. That we'll give ourselves the next year. To decide that if we are still compatible romantically with each other. And then if we are not, then I guess we'll go from there. Basically, in a nutshell, honestly. So, sad when you really think about it. To say that out loud, I mean, it was sad when we had this conversation. You know, it was sad. But then to put it on camera was even sadder, and then we're gonna have to go back and edit this and upload it. It's probably gonna be sad again. Just to admit that. Yeah. We still love each other. We still very much care for each other. And I think that's what makes it just so difficult. I never understood people who break up and they're like crying. Cause I've seen the couples on YouTube and people who have their public relationships on social media. They're like crying. They're like, "I love you so much," and they break up. I never understood those until now. I was like, why? If you love each other, why aren't you together? Like, that's so crazy. I get it now. I absolutely get it. And if it goes that way, it'll probably be one of the hardest breakups because of that. Because she's such a beautiful person, an amazing person. It's just not for me. And that would suck. Like to be like, dang. But if you really love someone, that's the most kindest and loving thing to do. Would be to let them go to find their person. Knowing that the dating pool is absolute ass, I think it'd be the selfish thing to do would be to keep them. Honestly. That's how I feel. Do you want to tell them what our plan is?
So our plan is, we have 2 books that we'll be utilizing. In a workbook, and it's just to work on our year of yes. One of our friends shared this book with us, and she kind of like read a few things in the book, in the workbook, and we was like, hey, that's what we need. And I felt like she's reading it now with, I guess, a group of people, but when we read it and she and I had this conversation, we was like, we could use that as our guide because it's for a whole year. And working on our year of yes, it's definitely to come to grips with that thought is a tough thought. And like when you're thinking it and feeling it internally, and then you don't know how to bring it to your significant other, because you don't want to come off a certain type of way. It was tough, and we both had been feeling the same way for a while, and it was kind of like relieving to like get it out and like, oh, okay, I'm not crazy or nothing. My wife is a beautiful person, great spouse, but like we're both on our transformational journey individually. And I think on one of the lives I talked about that I do in the morning, I talked about this. This is before she and I had the conversation, but sometimes you get in relationships and they're trauma bond connected, and as you release those specific traumas that potentially could have brought you together, you don't know it is. Sometimes it's energy that's connected from those things, and the person that's going through inside of you needs whatever energy that person is giving you, and you don't know that it's feeding that trauma, until you start releasing those things out of your life, and you see your relationship differently. And it's absolutely possible for 2 people that care about each other and love each other to go their separate ways romantically, because you grown, and like Steph said, it'll be selfish of either one of us to hold on to each other, knowing that romantically we're not clicking. So because we come to terms with how we're currently feeling and we are in agreement of that, we're going to give ourselves a year to honestly and consistently put the work in to work on us while we work on our business. Business wise, SK will still be a thing. But yeah, I'm not even calling it quits or nothing. I'm going to give it my all to make this thing work. And I love being transparent with people because I know a lot of people look up to us business wise and romantically. Y'all might not want what we have, but we have people tell us all the time, your love is beautiful. I love how y'all love on each other. And all of that is real. Because I know a lot of time when you see things on social media, you're like, oh, you're just doing it for the book, or you doing it for the gram, or you doing it for TikTok. No, everything I say about my wife is absolutely how I feel. But when you're on a healing journey to truly and authentically and intentionally heal it for the better, these conversations come up. But these are conversations that people don't talk about. I just want people to know that if you're in this space right now and you're having these same thoughts and you're like, man, I love this person 6 months ago, like, and now I'm like, I'm not even sure we compatible anymore. It's absolutely normal. What that says is you're growing. Whatever you're doing is working. Not saying that because you're growing apart, but you're able to recognize things differently. Like, self-care isn't selfish. It'll never be. And we definitely encourage each other to work on us. Put yourself first. And I'm not doing this at all. I'm doing this. Her hand in mine, a year strong, working on us. And we'll do another. You'll hear from us throughout our journey next year.
So yeah, we're planning to document as much as possible, while still being present in the moment. What I don't want, which we've seen other couples do it on social media, is they get caught up documenting, they lose themselves, and that kind of would defeat the purpose.
Right.
But we want to document to be transparent, to give other people who may be in similar boats ideas, thoughts, just, because people are like, oh, I love what you have, or people feel that we're inauthentic, so you can kind of go on this journey with us. So, like Ate said, we're going to be doing the year of yes. That'll be our personal kind of growth together, like individual growth, but also together. So, like, we're doing an individual thing to grow, but also the same thing, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to resume date night. So we used to do date night every Friday like clockwork, between like a hectic schedule and stuff. We just fell off and we never got back to it. So we may not do Friday, but we're going to make an intentional date night. And date nights for us are not extravagant. People hear date night, ooh, y'all got money. No. Some date nights we literally it's just intentional time set aside. Sometimes it's literally takeout on Netflix. Sometimes we would get free tickets when we lived in Richmond. We would go to the Funny Bone. They were free. And sometimes we would go out after that for half-price appetizers at Applebee's. Like, sometimes we would go on a nice date at the Mermaid Winery up the road and spend, a couple $100 on dinner and wine and stuff and everything in between. It doesn't have to be like our dates range depending on where we are financially and how we're feeling and what the hell we feel like doing. If we want to spend and we have it to spend, we'll do it. If we have it and we don't want to do it, we won't do it. And if we don't have it, we still make a way to just make that time together. And that's kind of where we fell off. Last week we spent, and we're going to upload that shortly. Last weekend we were in Dallas and it felt like one long continuous date. And we definitely said that we need to get back to that. Just hanging out and just doing stuff without business. We didn't have to worry about the dog. We did actually do some work though. And it was fun.
Content creating is fun when you don't have to worry about everything.
And we did our PJs for our No Friends Left Behind.
Mm-hmm.
Like we designed and we pulled Facebook and Instagram. I have a love-hate relationship with that app. But we polled and we did PJs and we did the start for that process. So we did a little bit of work.
Excuse me.
Like you're about to sneeze. I was like, So we did do a little bit of work, but it wasn't like, oh, we gotta do housework. Oh, we gotta do the dishes. Oh, we gotta take the dogs out. Oh, we gotta vacuum. Oh, we gotta do this. So we said that we were gonna try to implement like at least, did we say monthly or quarterly?
We said we were gonna start quarterly. We say monthly would be a little bit ambitious. Let's see what our budget was, so we'll commit to quarterly.
Like just going
I'll
a
get
weekend. Doesn't even have to be a flight. Just we can drive somewhere, board the dogs, and just go somewhere and just spend quality time together, just to get out of our environment. That's all. And it could be visiting family. It doesn't even have to be anything extravagant, like depending on the family member. But it has to be someplace where they're relaxing, they're fun. Like somebody that's gonna make us uptight and uncomfortable. It's got to be someplace where we can just have fun and let our hair down and let loose.
Yeah. And not interrogation.
Yeah. People are gonna play 20 questions and questions why we're not buying a house and why we're spending all this money on rent, not buying, like, not the family members, not them. But when you're gonna have kids and all that stuff, people who do those type of stuff, like, not those family members. The ones that just accept us for who we are and it's just a blast and a relaxing time, then I will count those.
Yeah.
Every now and then. But just as long as it doesn't have to be a flight either, or expensive or extravagant. We said we're gonna get back to date night quarterly, and quarterly trips, maybe monthly once I find a new higher paying job, or business revenue goes up, whichever comes first. And then we're gonna read the book, and then we're just gonna do it every morning, right, to get back into a morning routine. Just get back into a routine.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna document as much as possible. And then also I know some of the stuff that in the beginning, we also said that in the beginning of our marriage, like I said, we were different people. We were broken from other situations, not necessarily a romantic relationship, just our parents or lack thereof, or trauma from jobs, whoever. And sometimes we've developed maladaptive responses to things as a response to the other person's response to things, and we've never adjusted to that, so we have to readjust to that. Like there are certain topics where we kind of tiptoe around and dance around and walk on eggshells around, and we're not as direct and honest about a lot of things. And that, on both ends, it's not I am, she am, it's both. There are topics that I walk on eggshells with her, and there are topics that she walks on eggshells with me about, because of responses that we've gotten from the other person. And that was back first 6 months of our relationship, the year of our relationship, very early. We're getting to know each other. We got married fast. It's been a minute since we told that story, and we'll tell it eventually again. But we got married fast, and so I feel like we've developed maybe some, I would say, maladaptive behaviors, because I think avoiding a conversation and topics in a relationship is maladaptive. So I would say we've developed some maladaptive habits in our marriage, and we've never recalibrated that. And so we're gonna dig deep in some of those topics too. Maybe when we're calm, like this. Maybe do stuff like maybe write down some of those topics, how we feel, and then address them when we're calm, like this. Because actually, how we got to this conversation was a casual conversation, literally, just like this. And that's how we got to where we are now. We're just talking.
We were working on just having conversations. Because one of the things I noticed is, like, we can talk about, like, business. We can always talk about fun, nerdy things or fun things with no problem. But when we came down to talking about us and serious topics, it always seemed like we were in a wrestling match together. And no, we're not fighting physically,
maybe a verbal
and there's
match.
no cursing or nothing like that craziness. But it was sometimes harsh phrases exchanged, and I guess we just both avoided having any of those type of conversations at all. But that day, when we came to this conversation, that's where we noticed that both of us had grown in certain areas individually. That's why that individual growth is super important, because you are two individuals that make up the union. And a lot of times the issues that happen in relationships come from individual traumas that have become collective traumas, because y'all overlap. And that's why when one or both start to deal with those individual traumas that cause that friction, you see things differently. And that's why we were able to have this conversation, which is a tough conversation when you love someone and you care about them, and it went smooth.
Yeah, just like this. I mean, it was sad.
Yeah, we both said it was sad. We gave each other hugs.
Yeah.
You know, but that's one thing about me, being in content creation world, just being on the internet, period. Because everybody who do videos don't consider themselves a content creator. But
we're manifesting
that for us. And I'm big on transparency, and like transparency mixed with privacy can very much happen. You know, so I'm excited about this because I'm still like, healing is a forever journey. It doesn't have to be after a while a tough journey, but healing is a ongoing journey because you can be really triggered by other things, and just because we are doing better doesn't mean that we won't have rough days together and separately. So I have to know how to be wife to support the individual, Stephanie, but develop skill sets to be wife to support the union, and those are two very different spaces, and you show up differently, even though I'm the same person. It's kind of like how when being a mom and a wife, and your spouse that's going through something, you're gonna show up differently than, you know, if your kid, and it's just a different type of need. So I'm going in that this going to work in our favor for the good, and that's not. I don't think that's being ambitious. Because we definitely. Communication was a tough thing for us, and we've definitely got better in that area. I'm starting to hear more of, I can see where you come from, especially with me. For me, speaking to my wife, I can see where you come from that, because I'm a very black and white person, and that won't ever change, but I can adapt in certain situations to let the other person know, like, yes, it's black and white for me, but it's definitely not black and white for you. So if she's coming to me with a non-black and white issue, even though I'm a black and white person, that's where that skill set comes in, to be open-minded and see things from a non-black and white perspective, even though it's black and white for me. And that's where I'm growing.
That has helped tremendously.
Yeah. Because you don't have to change you to see somebody else's perspective. I'm still black and white. It's either this or that for me, but it's not for her. So I can definitely, it's like coming into the light with her and looking at that situation in her, through her vision, her lens. I got it. It's still black, white for me, babe, but I can see where you got that from.
Most arguments at least stem from us, because like the other person didn't feel heard, or like the person wasn't listening. And that's one of the biggest ways. I'm like, bruh, you're not even trying. You're like, nope, black, white, I'm like, that, I feel like that's helped a lot. Just to even like, okay, just to even just try it. Like, I can see where I still don't agree, but I can see how you got there.
Yeah.
Thank you for at least hearing my side. Thank you.
And that's refreshing. Like, even saying it for me, being a black and white person, it was refreshing for me that I could be refreshing for her. That's another area of growth, because a lot of times people think growth is just external. No, you feel the growth when you truly intentionally change for the better for yourself and your relationship. The words you say out of your mouth, I feel refreshing knowing that I can see things from my wife's point of view. That's refreshing for me, but when you grow up, my issue of that came from never being heard as a child. It's always the adult way or not, or no way, and not being seen, heard. So it's just like, it's either you gonna deal with this or this. That's it. So you kind of like develop those habits based off how adults in your life growing up respond to you. They never gave me an option to see things from another perspective. It's either this or this. So then I kind of developed a black and white approach to life based off the options I was given as a child. And now that I can see that, I might change to be not a black and white person now that I know where it stems from.
Oh, yeah.
Or acknowledging it, I can now be more open-minded.
Thank you for the memory jogger. Another thing that we were also doing, I think that's the last thing that I could think of, is like ways just to get to know each other, like playing games that foster conversations and things to get to know each other. And we've already started doing that now. Like, we're not going to wait till January. Like, that'd be so dumb. Like, oh, y'all probably like, y'all ain't going to wait till January? No, we're not waiting till January. Like, come on.
That's just for the book.
Right. So one of the ways we played a game last week, and I learned something. And I was just like, you knew this the whole time. But that helps a lot, tremendously. Like, just to get to know each other, to learn different perspectives, and just to, get to know each other more. Maybe see, we may have conversations around topics that we may have discussed previously, and our perspectives may have changed since these people may have had that conversation. But we may not have, so just to see how like that may have changed since we last talked about it, or see if maybe we could expound more on those topics, or just learn in general. Maybe we haven't talked about the topic at all, and that'll also help us kind of like get to know each other better. So that's our plan of attack for that. So give us all the well wishes and all the good vibes. All of you homophobes that may stumble across this video, off. This video is not for you.
Yeah, please don't come with the, it's not working because you're not supposed to.
Right, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Because I'm not listening to you.
Keep that to yourself.
Right.
Because you can feel how you want to feel and believe what you want to believe, and that's okay. That's your belief. But don't bring in your belief and project it on someone else.
Right.
Because I know plenty heterosexual marriages and relationships that don't work, and that's supposed to be the way. So if that's the case, then all those relationships will be perfect and intact, and no divorces.
Right.
So please miss me with that.
Yeah.
I'm excited because I'm excited for us, but I'm also excited because there might be other couples out there, straight, LGBT, it doesn't matter, that are stumped and feel at this moment and feel this way and be like, wow, I'm not the only one out there, or we're not the only couple out there that deals with that. I'm not for the all foo-foo, doing all that all the time, and not telling people that these are real issues that go on in a real marriage where the two people really love each other. And, love is, you gotta have a little more than that. Because no matter which way it turns for us, I will always love Steph. Yeah. But so that's, you gotta dig deep. You can't be stubborn, and I am a stubborn person in certain areas, but this thing I'm not stubborn about. I'm literally letting my hair down, opening up my heart, my soul, and digging deep in this thing, in the trenches, to essentially mend some areas, release some things, because everything that's broken don't need to be mended. Sometimes you just need to start fresh. Sometimes you're mending things that just need to be let go. So I'm ready.
Start fresh? Hi, I'm Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Katia.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm ready. I'm ready. It was tough telling my wife how I really felt. It's scary.
It was interesting because normally she doesn't like it when I ask her questions, and we were having a conversation and I just asked her questions. Literally, just kept asking questions.
And that's another.
And she answered. I was like, do you feel like, one of the questions I asked, do you feel like sometimes we're fitting a a square peg in a round hole? Round peg in a square hole?
Either way,
whatever.
The hole don't fit. It ain't working.
Yeah. Like stuff like that. Like those type of questions. Like how long have you felt like this? Stuff like that.
And
she actually answered.
Yeah. And that whole question thing it also comes from a lot of my stuff I'm realizing comes from childhood trauma, and I definitely working through them. You know, yeah, I'm definitely working through them. When you're somebody who had to grow up fast, had to make a lot of adult decisions for yourself quickly, it's just, you know, you feel like you're in this box, in this world, all alone by yourself. And I never had to answer to anyone really, because I had to make all the decisions for myself. I had to make sure I was okay most of the time. I put myself through school, you know, so when my grandmother left this world 4 months before I graduated high school, it definitely rocked my world more. As I'm healing, I'm actually, it's like reverse trauma healing type thing, because I see more and more how much her leaving me rocked my world, going through the healing, than actually living through that world when she was like first gone. So it's weird. Like, wow, like I literally adapted. It was definitely survival mode in a bad way. And I'm quite sure I pushed a lot of people away that cared about me. Um, some I needed to let go, but a few people, you know, just because you don't want people to get in your world. So. No, I'm just ready to get this thing going. Like I said, like you said, we're not waiting till January for everything. We have started reconnecting, and just those games really help. And you know, we play several games, and it definitely helps. So card games that foster questions definitely get your wheels turning, and then you can always expound on it.
Mm-hmm.
So stay tuned to our journey. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. And we appreciate y'all for taking the time to watch and hang out with us and hear our story, and stay tuned to our journey, to our yes year.
Bye.
Bye.